This week, we take you to Mount Hay Retreat at Orange Hill Road to explore Mahogany Ridge Villa. It's a scenic property that sits on over 2.5 acres of land, an inviting spot that's close to nature, including a few of the island's best beaches and the Grafton Bird Sanctuary. We have this and a lot more in store for you. I'm Davia Chambers, and this is Let's Talk Tobago. Spending priorities have been identified for Tobago for the next financial year. We talked to one of 8 people who are now proud owners of townhouses at Adventure, and later, Habitat for Humanity helps one community become more disaster ready. These stories and more when Let's Talk Tobago continues. Do stay with us.
They say it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters the most. And in the face of disaster, chaos, and panic, it is the Tobago Emergency Management Agency's comprehensive emergency response plans that will matter most to Tobago. This agency's modernized approach to emergency management is driven by technology, powered by networking, focused on community resilience, open to partnering, enhanced through training, and led by a highly competent and dedicated staff. This has positioned them as one of the premier disaster management agencies in the region and earned them Trinidad and Tobago Diamond Standard certification. Congrats, TEMA, Tobago Emergency Management Agency.
Mahogany Ridge Villa is a Caribbean dream brought to life by owner Sandra Serlin in 2002. When you visit the villa, it's immediately apparent where its name comes from: the tall mahogany trees standing guard across the property. So now that Tobago knows exactly how much it can spend for the next fiscal year, public officers got together to determine how best the divisions of the Tobago House of Assembly can really use its allocation. Omadara Mills tells us about the areas where spending will be reduced.
The Assembly has been allocated $2.19 billion from the national budget for fiscal year 2017 to 2018. Tobago will also benefit from $1.09 billion to carry out major projects on the island through various government ministries. The budgetary allocation is less than the Assembly's request, so key members of the THA, such as secretaries, administrators, and technical staff, got together to review the budget estimates and to look at areas where spending can be reduced. These included the use of utility services.
You are aware that many of our buildings in the night and so on, those buildings where we work, we usually leave the lights on. We have taken the policy position that we will now move to the point where we take most of the lights off when we leave at the end of the day.
Despite the shortfall in funding, the THA hopes to maintain current employment levels, but it means those employed have to be more productive. Productivity teams will be established to ensure that employees meet set targets and deadlines. The Assembly will also look to make the most of divisions' resources.
Minor equipment is another area. And the implication there is that we now have to develop a more robust approach to maintenance. And therefore, we'll have to begin to prolong the life of a number of the pieces of equipment that we now have.
The THA will also be reviewing its contracted services.
Many of the contracts that we now have, we will renegotiate those contracts, with a view, of course, to get the costs down, thereby ensuring that we get greater value for monies that we would be spending.
Stakeholders at this 2-day retreat also explored ways that they can encourage people to take advantage of opportunities in tourism, agro-processing, and community development. I'm Omadara Mills for Let's Talk Tobago.
In search of her dream home, UK-born Sandra traveled many Caribbean islands before actually arriving in Tobago. She admired the nature and the tropical flowers and the view of the Caribbean Sea. So she decided this would be her new home. Construction started on Mahogany Ridge Villa in 1998. And speaking of infrastructure, the passage of Hurricane Irma and Hurricane Maria left several Caribbean countries devastated and trying to rebuild. Tobago joined outreach efforts to help provide much-needed supplies for some of our Caribbean neighbors. Here are the details in this report.
Just last month, Hurricane Irma belted through several Caribbean islands, causing major damage. The Turks and Caicos, St. Martin, Barbuda, and the British Virgin Islands were a few of the islands affected. At least 134 persons died. 2 weeks later, Hurricane Maria took the same path, compounding the damage. This time, Dominica was hardest hit. 88 persons were killed. Some of our Caribbean sisters and brothers were left without homes, water, food, communication, and hygienic and medical supplies. Tobago, through the Tobago Emergency Management Agency, hosted a distribution drive. The public was invited to contribute supplies to assist our Caribbean neighbors, and they did.
According to our prescribed needs list, we were able to collect various items such as toiletries, cleaning supplies, water, food items, and those were sent last week via Coast Guard to the affected areas by Hurricane Irma and Maria. At this point in time, we were able to collect over $150,000. I think we are over $200,000 worth of materials at this point in time.
TIMA was also able to garner support from the private sector, which donated building supplies.
We have gotten some shelter supplies, so we have gotten things like tarpaulins, nails, some of the hardwares have actually donated to us. So we have gotten quite a vast amount of, or types of supplies.
And TIMA is quite grateful for the donations made by Tobago.
We got a large donation from WASA yesterday. We have gotten donations from different divisions as well. And we have gotten a huge turnout from the private citizens of Tobago. So we are very grateful that they have really shown their humanitarian aspect.
The outreach efforts ended on October 12th. I'm Caroline Wallace for Let's Talk Tobago.
The serenity and scenery at Mahogany Ridge Villa is what keeps guests returning to this vacation home. It's even a haven for many of the island's species of birds, making this property a bird watcher's paradise. The Tobago House of Assembly now has the ability to borrow money, which is great news for the island's developmental program. In this next report, Omadara Mills tells us more about some of the key projects being considered. Here are the details.
The THA can now borrow to fund its development projects. Now, the Tobago House of Assembly Act 40 of 1996 gives provisions to the Assembly to secure loans via an overdraft for recurrent expenditure. But the Assembly needs the approval of the Minister of Finance in order to borrow for capital expenditure. It's an opportunity that the Assembly has been preparing for several years.
It says something about the Assembly, how we have managed and all the steps that we have taken thus far. We have our ratings from Moody's. We have worked with the International Monetary Fund to be part of the Article 4 consultation. We are also examining the prospects of having another rating. The country currently utilizes Moody's and S&P's, and we are currently in discussions with another rating agency so that we'll have two ratings on the operations of the Assembly.
Currently, the THA's credit rating from Moody's is BA1 stable, the same as central government in Trinidad. Now, a credit rating from a company like Moody's gives investors an idea of the relative credit worthiness of the island or country. The rating can also assist banks in deciding on loans to the THA.
There are several mechanisms that we're looking at. We're currently working with our bankers to bring a proposal, submit a proposal to the Minister of Finance to raise funds for capital expenditure. We have been doing our homework. I recently undertook a soft roadshow nationally, chatting with all the financial institutions, and the feedback thus far that we have received the feedback has been positive, and I'm excited about the prospects for Tobago.
Mr. Jack says the money borrowed will go towards development projects such as housing construction.
I'm excited because in one area, for example, in housing, we have been exploring several proposals to accelerate housing on the island, and this facility gives us that option. We have received some proposals. We're currently examining one proposal, and so it gives us that flexibility.
Now, there isn't a limit as to how much the THA can borrow, but it will be setting limits as to the amount of loans it will secure. These will be paid back via the annual national budgetary allocation. The Assembly sees this financial avenue as one way of advancing the island's development. I'm Amadara Mills for Let's Talk Tobago.
Coming up next, we take you to Plymouth for the distribution of homes at Adventure Phase 2. Don't go anywhere. Let's Talk Tobago will be right back. Stay with us.
Happy times. Summer car done, summer car, 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 summer car done, yeah, summer car.
Welcome back. You are viewing Let's Talk Tobago. Now, weddings are special occasions, and if you are looking for an intimate setting for your big day, Mahogany Ridge Villa is the place. Management provides all the right support to ensure you have a very memorable experience. One Tobagonian also had a day to remember recently. Her dream of owning a home came true as she turned the key to a townhouse at Adventure Phase 2. Here's how it happened.
Turning the keys to her new home is a dream come true for Carleen Toppin-Duke. Mrs. Toppin-Duke applied for a house about 5 years ago. Now she's one of 7 recipients in this batch who recently received the keys to new townhouses at Dillon Crescent, Adventure Phase 2, Plymouth. Carleen was elated at finally having a house to call her own.
I'm overwhelmed with joy, not with laughter, but more tears. It's an achievement that I was really looking forward to, one of my goals. It's a dream come true. And I would like to thank all those who helped make it possible, and special thanks to God Almighty.
These 3-bedroom, 2.5-bath units were constructed by the Tobago House of Assembly at a subsidized cost of $475,000. That's about half the actual cost of the units. The recipients acknowledged the THA's efforts in providing affordable housing.
It's a very good thing for Tobagonian. Keep up the good works, Mr. Jacob and Mr. Charles.
I think they are doing a great job, and it's helping people like me to achieve our goals in life, and I must congratulate them on the great effort that they are making to help the people of Tobago to achieve these goals.
The Division of Settlements, Urban Renewal and Public Utilities also provides land for those who want to build homes in areas like Corland and Blenheim. People can also access other programs such as the Home Improvement Grant, Home Improvement Subsidy, Home Completion Subsidy, and the Beneficiary Own Land Program.
The mandate of the division is not solely to build homes and communities, but to improve the living standards of the Tobago population, but employing the principles of good governance, of transparency, accountability, integrity, and value for money.
16 other townhouses are being constructed at Adventure Phase 2. They should be completed by the end of this year. The division's services are aimed at meeting the housing needs of Tobagonians, especially the low and middle income earners. I'm Amadara Mills for Let's Talk Tobago.
Mahogany Ridge Villa is a 4-bedroom villa that sleeps up to 8 people, and the cottage is cozy enough for 2. There's a pool, a fully equipped kitchen, ensuite bathrooms, and more. In this next story, we take you to Palatuve, where health officials met residents of North Tobago communities. The residents had questions as well as suggestions to improve the quality of service in their areas. Here's what they said.
In 2017, many exciting changes have been taking place in the health sector. Key positions are being filled, such as hospital administrator and service coordinators. Service and training are being stepped up, and a research ethics committee has been appointed to create a more evidence-based approach to healthcare. But the clients being served are also key to the success of these initiatives. They are part of an ongoing series of community meetings to better understand the residents' needs and issues that must be addressed. The latest meeting, hosted by the Tobago Regional Health Authority, the TRHA, and the Division of Health, Wellness and Family Development, was held at the Palatuve Health Center.
We know that those persons in the various villages, that they have information that they would want to share. And so that as we seek to make Tobago the place that we would want to have our healthcare delivered, we want to ensure that we are doing such that we can respond to your needs. And so we have done some work. We know there's more to be done.
Some of the issues raised include the timely arrival of ambulances for emergency cases, improvements to the health system, and the opening of a 24-hour health center.
Well, I know the island is too small to have 2 hospitals. However, would it be possible to have a health center that is open 24/7 on this side of the island, so that it will be a first response that an ambulance could take to, where the first set of vitals and everything could be taken, a first assessment could be taken from a person who's an emergency case, and then transfer them to the Scarborough General Hospital.
A new initiative is also being considered to improve emergency transportation for Roxborough and environs.
We did not consider 24/7 facility for this side, but we are moving towards having, for Roxborough, such a service is going to be in Roxborough. Some things we would have to justify whether or not we would set up such a service. The plan at present is to have one in Roxborough.
This is the 4th community health meeting in the series. Meetings were previously held at Roxborough, Charlottesville, and Keenan-Bonacord. I'm Kern De Freitas for Let's Talk Tobago.
This property sports a modern plantation style. It has a wide veranda and large doors. It's also got windows that fill the villa with natural light and a cool hilltop breeze. We turn now to an event that celebrated our island's teachers. In this next report, we hear more about it from Caroline Wallace.
October is the month to celebrate teachers who play an important role in society. This was expressed eloquently by education advocate Malala Yousafzai, who said, "Let us remember, one book, one pen, one child, and one teacher can change the world." Educators also teach students important life lessons to help them succeed beyond the classroom. So, the Tobago arm of the Trinidad and Tobago Unified Teachers Association, TUTA, celebrated its members with an annual district convention.
No teacher, no principal, no administrator in education can operate without collaboration, because education is a collaborative process. I am therefore here, standing before you, very confident that we at the division will continue to work with you. But I want to remind us all that the most powerful domain for moving children and developing citizens is the affective domain, and that is where we talk about relationships.
The theme for this year's convention was Teaching in Freedom, Empowering Teachers. And the teachers were encouraged to improve the performance of the island's education system.
Given the pivotal role that you play in educating our young people, we are convinced that any serious program at this time must aim to further develop the instructional effectiveness of those charged with the responsibility to deliver the program of instruction at the level of the school.
Tobago's teachers were also urged to return to the days of teamwork in schools.
Your profession, the calling upon your life, the direct clients placed in your care demand even more that teachers, you work as a team. Receive again team teaching, team building, shared ideas, shared experiences, and in times of little, we can be so creative.
The convention also recognized new teachers in the educational system. I'm Caroline Wallace for Let's Talk Tobago.
We have to take a break, but when we return, Habitat for Humanity is helping to protect the hillside village of Moriah. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us. We are exploring Mahogany Ridge Villa. Now, its dedicated team will make you feel right at home. From the moment you arrive at the airport, you will be greeted with your pre-booked rental car and escorted to the villa. All you have to do is visit. Now there's power in partnerships, and a number of organizations came together to help make One Tobago community more disaster ready. It's all in this report. Have a look.
Recently, we've witnessed the power and destruction natural disasters can bring, as Hurricanes Irma and Maria devastated some of our neighboring Caribbean islands. Tobago has been spared similar destruction, but the rainy season has caused landslides in several villages in North and East Tobago, which have lots of hilly terrain. So 8 retaining walls and 5 rainwater harvesting systems to channel water away from the foundation of homes have been constructed in the northern village of Moriah, along with 100 trees to prevent hillside erosion. It was all done via the Disaster Risk Reduction Program, Safe Shelter Through Landslide Mitigation Project. The project was executed by Habitat for Humanity in partnership with the Tobago Emergency Management Agency, TEMA, the Tobago House of Assembly, the Canadian High Commission, and the NEHUST. The project addresses the needs of families affected by landslides.
The Moriah Community Center has been upgraded with support from the Ministry of Community Development and can now serve as a disaster shelter. Hopefully we don't have to use it in that regard. We have distributed for planting 100 ground cover plants at various locations to protect our hillsides from erosion. And furthermore, 64 community members have been trained in the importance and maintenance of retaining walls and rainwater harvesting systems.
Hillside communities should take steps to protect their residents from the effects of bad weather, and Moriah is prepared.
In 1963, Moriah was one of the villages ravaged by Hurricane Flora. Whilst I can't say thank you enough to you both, do not forget Moriah. That's the selfish part of me. The diplomatic part of me says, do not forget Tobago.
Communities around the world are building resilience to reduce and prevent the devastation that natural disasters cause. Partnerships like these, especially during a period of economic challenges, are pleasing to Chief Secretary Kelvin Charles.
As we do more with less, but at the same time ensure that the developmental momentum of the island is not slowed. So residents of these communities along the North Coast have been vulnerable to threats of landslides. Therefore, an all-hands-on-deck approach through meaningful partnerships such as this will create solutions and aid in landslide mitigation efforts.
TEMA provided equipment and labor for the project, while the TH's Department of Agriculture provided 100 plants from its nurseries. The 9th and final retaining wall is near completion. I'm Caroline Wallace for Let's Talk Tobago.
If you're crazy about the outdoors, you can enjoy all Tobago has to offer and create a memorable vacation. Visit the Main Ridge Forest, hike the nature trails and the Argyle waterfall, and after you've explored the island, enjoy the tranquility of Mahogany Ridge Villa. Now, 50 years is a great milestone for any organization, and one of Tobago's most well-known steel orchestras recently celebrated its Golden Jubilee. Here are the details.
One band, one sound is the motto of NLCB Buccaneers. The band was formed in 1967 and celebrated its Golden Jubilee with a small ceremony at the Magdalena Grand Beach and Golf Resort. But the community organization didn't start out as a steel band.
It was formed there then was a group of young people who just wanted something to do. It started off by playing cricket, and then we got together and decided, well, we ought to have something other than cricket. And we moved on to have Parsley evening sales and raise funds, and then we purchased instruments and began the Buccaneers Steel Orchestra.
Buccaneers ran away with first place in the medium bands category at the THA Panchams 2017, playing Rhythm Run Things by Colonel Roberts. They also finished third in the medium bands category at this year's National Panorama Finals.
It is indeed one of the most consistent steel bands in our country and an almost permanent fixture on the National Panorama Finals on the big stage at the Queen's Park, Savannah. I'm told that within the last 7 years, NLCB Buccaneers has placed in the top 3 of its category no fewer than 5 times.
Buccaneers have been sponsored by the National Lotteries Control Board, the NLCB, for 13 consecutive years. To commemorate their major milestone, the Buccaneers plan to tour Tobago in 2018 to show residents the secret to their longevity.
50 years in any business is indeed a very long time, and it lends itself to obvious growth, development and maturity. In the business of culture and entertainment, it speaks to consistency, relevance, and commitment to continually provide the music that thrills everyone exposed to it.
The Steel Orchestra also plans to launch an after-school program to teach young Tobagonians how to read music. I'm Gern De Freitas for Let's Talk Tobago.
And it's time to have Your Say, the segment of our program where we hear what you, the viewers, have to say. Today we are asking, what does World Food Day mean to Tobago? While you think about it, let's take a look at who had their say.
World Food Day mean a lot to Tobago, because if you walk around, by example me, I either sell my broom, I sell my little breadfruit and thing, and if you walk around, you'll see people always selling food.
We need more food to be planted in Tobago, and the government need to stop bringing over those food from Trinidad. Let Tobagonians do their own agriculture here. It has enough land where they could plant and have more food in Tobago.
If we just broadcast the purple seeds that are supposed to get some plants for, if we broadcast the passion fruit seeds, if we just broadcast things that grow easily, we are going to be on our way.
This is not displaying Tobago as Tobagoan. To say well, Tobago really getting value for money. When you bring something to display, we're not saying really this comes from Tobago. You may get the cattle and the animals, but where the food is concerned,
it's not encouraging anything. I win prize already with best squash pumpkin, I win prize with spinach, I win. But it's just kind of looking bleaky now. Things not nice in Tobago anymore.
It helps to advertise my business, and it helps to advertise agriculture.
World Food Day come to me like, my life. And not having World Food Day, it comes like to me, I have no life.
We close yet another edition of Let's Talk Tobago, and as always, we thank you for watching. Please email us with your comments or queries about the program, and be sure to visit our website, like us on Facebook, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. From our house to yours, I'm Davia Chambers, along with the Department of Information, Office of the Chief Secretary, Tobago House of Assembly, wishing you a safe and very productive week. We close now with a montage of the closing ceremony of the Godric Alfred football tournament. We do hope you enjoy.